You don't remember the last time you felt dry. You're 19 years old. And you're lying in the mud. Not dirt. Not earth. Something worse. A thick, heavy mix of clay, water, and chalk torn apart by shells so many times it no longer belongs to nature. It belongs to war. You've been here for hours. Maybe days. Time doesn't work the same out here. The cold doesn't feel like cold anymore. It feels like nothing. And the older soldiers told you that's when it gets dangerous. You volunteered in the summer of 1914. You remember the posters. Bright colors. Bold words. Adventure. Honor. Glory. You remember the crowds. Young men laughing, pushing each other forward like they were stepping into something exciting. You were one of them. Now it's November. Belgium. And nothing looks like what you were promised. You're a private. The lowest rank. Which means one simple thing: everyone gives you orders. And you follow them. You carry everything. Rifle. Bayonet. Ammunition. Entrenching tool. Gas mask. Food. Gear. Extra weight no one asks if you can handle. Nearly 60 pounds strapped to your body. You don't question it. You just carry it. Your world is small now. A trench. 10 men. One section. Led by Corporal Marsh. He's 23. Older than you, but not by much. He's been here longer. That's what matters. When the artillery starts, he goes completely still. No panic. No movement. Just still. And you've started doing the same thing. Without realizing it. Every day begins before the sun rises. Stand to. Rifle ready. Eyes forward. Because dawn is when men die. You wait. Watching the empty space between you and the enemy. They call it no man's land. And once you've seen it, you understand why. After sunrise, you eat. If you can call it that. Cold meat from a tin. Bread covered in mud. You chew. You swallow. You don't taste anything anymore. Then the work begins. Fixing the trench. Because the trench is always falling apart. The walls collapse. The ground shifts. Water seeps in. And if you don't fix it, this place stops being shelter and becomes your grave. Night changes everything. The trench comes alive. Darkness brings movement. Patrols. Wiring parties. Silent missions into no man's land. You've gone out twice. The first time, nothing happened. Just crawling through darkness so deep it felt like the world had disappeared. You came back before dawn. That was considered a success. The second time was different. You don't talk about the second time. No one does. Because the truth is, war isn't constant action. It's waiting. Endless waiting. Waiting for orders. Waiting for food. Waiting for letters. Waiting for something to happen. Or for nothing to happen at all. And slowly, you stop noticing things. The smell. The fear. Even the silence. You're a private. You are the foundation of the war. Everything else is built on top of you. Then one day, everything changes. You're given a stripe. Lance Corporal. It doesn't feel like a reward. It feels like a weight. Now you're responsible. Not for yourself, but for others. 4 men. Each one different. Each one depending on you. A boy who lied about his age. A teacher who recites poetry under shellfire. A man who's already accepted death. And one who misses home so much it shows in his eyes. You're no longer just surviving. Now you're making sure others do too. At night, you lead them into darkness. Repairing barbed wire under enemy sightlines. Moving slowly. Quietly. Freezing when flares light up the sky. You make one mistake. Only one. And you never make it again. You come back alive. That's all that matters. Because nothing gets recorded. No praise. No recognition. Just job done. This isn't a war of glory. It's a war of maintenance. Another stripe. Another step up. Now you command 10 men. A full section. You know everything about them. Who's strong? Who's breaking? Who hides it well? Who doesn't? You start noticing things others miss. The wind direction before gas attacks. The weak spots in the trench. The quiet signs that something is wrong. One of your men stops eating. No one reports it. No one notices. Except you. So you sit with him. Not as a commander. As a human being. You talk about home. About normal life. About anything that isn't this. And slowly, he eats again. This is your job too. Not just keeping them alive, but keeping them human. Above you, officers. Young. Inexperienced. Some listen. Some don't. The ones who don't last long. Time passes. If you survive. Now you're running entire groups. Dozens of men. Managing chaos. Turning orders into reality. Because orders are simple on paper. But nothing is simple here. You plan operations. Raids. Movements. Timing everything down to seconds. Because seconds matter. You've learned something important. Success isn't about fighting. It's about preparation. Logistics. Communication. Get those wrong, and everything falls apart. Above you, more responsibility. More men. More pressure. You see patterns now. Men who stop writing home. Men who stop sleeping. Men who stop reacting. And you know what comes next. So you step in before it's too late. Because here, small things become fatal. Then comes the raid. Night. Darkness. Silence. You move forward. Into no man's land. Every step matters. Every sound matters. Every second matters. You reach the enemy line. Everything happens fast. Too fast. The plan changes. Because plans always change. You adapt. You survive. You come back. Some are wounded. None are dead. That counts as a victory. You write the report. You record the facts. But not the feeling. Not the moment when everything could have gone wrong and didn't. Because that part stays with you. Time moves forward. If you're still here. Now you're not just fighting. You're managing war itself. Paperwork. Supply lines. Casualty lists. You realize something most people never understand. War isn't just battle. It's systems. Endless systems. And those systems are held together by people like you. You remember faces, voices, moments, not statistics. Because to you, they weren't numbers. They were real. And every loss stays. At the highest levels, command looks different. Maps, plans, decisions. You decide movements, strategies, attacks. But one truth never changes: every decision costs something. Lives for ground. Ground for time. Time for something that may or may not matter. And still, you carry on. Because that's the job. That's always been the job. From the private in the mud to the officer behind the lines, everyone plays their part. Everyone carries something. Weight. Responsibility. Memory. And in the end, the war doesn't remember all of them. But they remember each other. The mud. The silence. The waiting. And the quiet understanding that they were the ones who held the line. Not the generals. Not the speeches. Them. The ones in the mud.